Well, it is Friday, which means it's time for Mike, the auto guy Davidson of Parkway Automotive, to take more of your car-related questions. So give us a call right now at 1-866-462-8255. And we had such a good time with you out at the big Napa sale last week.
Yeah, we did. We had a good time.
A lot of people got in there and got a lot of tools.
I think so. I think there's a lot of fathers going to have some great Father's Day gifts as a result of being there. And there were some guys who had needs that came out and got some things they needed.
Honey, I really need this. And then what I get, you know, I can fix this if I had the right tool.
Yeah, that's right.
So, you know, no excuses now. Huh?
That's right.
All right, let's get to Mickey in Ward, who has a question for Mike. Hi, Mickey.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning. Go right ahead with your question.
Okay, hey, Mike, I've got it's a 96 Chevy Lumina, and it's getting where it's hard to start. It's got about 195,000 miles on it, and sometimes it acts like it's trying to backfire.
Well, I would go to some simple things on that car. There's a lot of issues with intake and intake manifolds that will leak. We also don't want to overlook some very simple things like spark plugs and spark plug wires. All of that can cause that. When an engine is colder, it just needs more fuel. So if we had a vacuum leak, we're getting more air than we are fuel, and our mixture's all messed up, and it can't run well, and you'll get some backfiring and things like that. So I'd be looking along those lines. 195,000 miles. Did you hear that?
That's great.
Yeah, that's great. I was looking at Consumer Reports this morning, and all the vehicles, the best cars chosen, and you'd be surprised at how many of those were American nameplates.
Good.
Yep.
Good
they're in there.
It's like a song to your heart.
Oh, yeah,
to hear 195,000.
It is. It
Okay.
really is.
Thank you, Mickey. Pamela is up next in Camden. Hi, Pamela.
Good morning.
Morning.
Mike, I've got a 1990 Crown Victoria. The oil is leaking. The power steer is leaking. There's a yellow, like, weird foam that I see when I'm changing the oil. And last week, there was a weird high-pitched humming sound. And I've had the motor, the power steering motor, I guess, changed. But yet the power steering is still leaking.
Well, we've got to go in and just find out where that's leaking from. And typically what we like to do when we have any type of leak is we use a dye in the system, whether it's engine or transmission or power steering. You put a dye in there. I like to say it like this: the dye will never lie. It'll always tell you the truth as to where a leak is. It may not tell you every leak at first, but it'll for sure keep the technician from replacing a seal that is not leaking, because the dye will only come out a seal that is leaking. So that's what I would recommend first. Let's do some dye test on it. Let's find exactly where the leak is coming from and fix what's going on there. And then sometimes oil leaks typically require more than one visit to the shop. Very seldom can you get them all wrapped up in one visit. So one, just have a little compassion on the technician and realize that it'll take a couple of visits for most oil leaks to be repaired. So if you had that repair already, you spent some money there, hey, it's okay. You go on back to that shop. I'm sure they'll be glad to continue to work with you on it.
Maybe suggest a dye test if they have not done it.
That's right.
If they don't do that. Okay,
Absolutely.
Thanks, Pamela. Charles is in Jonesboro. He has a question. Hey, Charles.
Good morning, Mike and Melinda.
Hi.
Good morning.
I have a 1993 Toyota 4x4. I had the engine rebuilt about 4 years ago, and between oil changes, I'm having to add like a quart and a half oil. Can you help me?
Well, some of the things that we got to look at for certain, we've got to look, do we have any oil leaks? We just mentioned that on the last caller. We want to make sure there. If that's all good, then when that engine is rebuilt, there's something that's just not sealing up, whether it be valve stem seals or it be the rings. Those are the two areas of the engine that will cause the engine to burn oil. We also don't want to overlook just a simple, it's called the PCV system. It's positive crankcase ventilation. You've heard of a PCV valve. Those are valves that ought to be replaced on a regular basis on vehicles. So that's one of those things that kind of get overlooked. And it actually acts like lungs for the engine. And if the engine can't breathe, then we're going to build up crankcase pressure and we're going to have leaks occur within that engine. So just a small part that can be replaced under maintenance that can keep from oil leaks happening.
There you go. PCV. Positive crank.
Case ventilation.
Case ventilation, not crank. Case ventilation. All right, learned something today. We'll see if I remember that next week.
I bet you will.
Probably not.
Yeah, I'll help you out.
All right, let's put up the information about Mike Davidson. Parkway Automotive, of course, over there on Kirk Road, right off of Chenal Parkway. Just take a right as you're headed out west, 821-6111, and KATV.com will link you to his website, which is
parkwayautomotive.net.
Okay, thanks. Positive crank.
It's crankcase. So you had them both right. They're both in there.
Crankcase. Got to say them both.
Yes, positive crankcase ventilation. Just say PCV valve. It's acronyms. We have them like crazy in our industry.
You do. That's all we need.
They're everywhere.
As long as we have you, we don't need to know. All right, thanks, Mike. All right, stay with us. Beth has another look at your forecast, at your news rather, coming up. Positive crank.